Howdy, everyone. Naughty Dog, the company known for at the time Crash Bandicoot, and currently, well, Hot Shots Golf and remakes that are pretty unnecessary. If anyone's hyped for The Last of Us remake, that's great. I hope that anyone who buys it enjoys it, but I do not think it's worth the very nice price of $69.99. There are other first-party Sony games that could use a remake, but there is one that comes to mind, and that game is Jammer Lammy. This is in no way a masterpiece. Actually, I take that back. This game has meme potential. This is a spinoff of Parappa the Rapper. It's about a guitarist named Lammy. She's trying to get to her concert on time. It sounds simple, but I'm telling you, the plot gets insane. In the Japanese and PAL versions, she slips on a banana peel and wakes up in hell. This game is amazing. Oh, and it has this banger. I don't want to see this for $70, but if it re-released on PlayStation Plus Premium, it's got a good chance of blowing up. But back to Naughty Dog. If you saw the thumbnail, you know I'm not talking about Jammer Lammy for 10-ish minutes. The PlayStation was a hit for Sony, and a big part of that is thanks to the game developers, including the guys at Naughty Dog. However, Activision got the rights to their big franchise Crash Bandicoot, so it was time to create a new IP for the PlayStation 2. And what they came up with was a collectathon platformer known as Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. I have very little experience with this franchise. I was more of a GameCube kid, so I never really used the PS2 all that much. I did play a bit of Jak 2, and it pissed me the off. Damn it! And I also played the spin-offs for some reason, Jak X and Daxter. Though despite that, I was really into the world building of the game. And it makes me wish that this franchise was revisited instead of the first Last of Us. But all of the Jak and Daxter games are available on PlayStation Plus Premium. So I thought that, hey, if Naughty Dog won't remake it, I might as well try the original out myself. The game begins with Jak and Daxter sneaking away to Misty Island late at night. They find these two evil-looking things commanding an army of enemies, and in the process, Daxter falls into a pit of dark eco, turning him into a potential mascot character. And to turn him back, we gotta collect a crap ton of power cells. Power cells are like stars in a game like Mario 64 / Sunshine / Galaxy. But I'm not sure if you guys know about those games. Mario died on March 31st, 2021. We don't need to collect every single power cell, but we do need to collect a lot to move forward in the game. Once the gameplay begins, I needed to change one big thing: the aspect ratio. The version on PlayStation Plus Premium is the PlayStation 4 port, which takes the original PlayStation 2 version and tosses it into some crappy emulator that creates a whole bunch of problems. And that includes the 16:9 aspect ratio looking all weird and stretched out. So one quick switch to 4:3 did the trick. And while we're still at the pause menu, isn't it weird that at one point the circle button was used to select stuff and the X button was used to go back? The first level, Geyser Rock, serves as a tutorial where we are introduced to some of the basics. Square to do the dash attack, circle to spin around. Precursor orbs are this world's currency. They look like eggs, and for some reason every NPC wants 90 of them in exchange for a power cell. There are these red crates that contain scoutflies, another group of collectibles that can be exchanged for more power cells. From the tutorial, it is clear that Naughty Dog wants you to know that you are gonna spend a lot of time collecting This little thing that Jak and Daxter do is kinda cute though. And we're introduced to Blue Eco as well. It turns Jak into Cole from Infamous for a few seconds and makes him move faster. By the way, where's the Infamous remake? Remake that game too. Once that's done, I'm introduced to the first hub area, Sandover Village. I can herd cattle! Yes! I also have access to two sets of levels, a beach and a jungle. With Naughty Dog wanting to create a seamless open world, there are barely any loading screens. And there's even a day and night cycle. One part of the area affects another. For example, when I saved this giant egg, it hatched and this creature called a Flut came out. In later levels in the game, I could actually encounter the Flut again and ride it around. I wander around a bit and I gotta mention that the camera sucks. It feels like there's a lack of freedom when moving the camera around, and sometimes it is tough to see what's coming. And while I'm in this weird hallway place, I run into the first boss, this plant thing. The bosses as a whole in this game are pretty simple. If it wasn't for the low health bar, I would definitely kill each one in the first try. Hey, I defeated the first boss, and I got a teabag. I find this guy who wants me to catch fish for him. Why is his beard blue? When it comes to collectathon platformers, the key is to complete as much of the earlier levels as possible. So I spent about 40 minutes trying to get the remaining paracells in the beach and the jungle. While I collected more than enough to move on to the next big area, all I need to do is ride the speeder bike thing through a hall of lava. It's pretty fun to ride when going through these linear levels, despite dying a lot. So my next area is the Rock Village. I can fast travel between this place and the Sandover Village. So the first thing I do is head right back and go to the one area I haven't checked out yet, the return to Misty Island. Here's a big thing that was touted about this game when it first released: the lack of loading screens in this seamless open world. Though this seems dated, as I can see where the loading is hidden. The unskippable cutscenes and the pop-in give it away. But I gotta say that it feels like a groundbreaking technological marvel for 2001. So I spent some time in Misty Island. I die way too many times. I discover red eco, which makes my attack stronger. And overall, I just collected more paracells. I took a break, and when I opened up the game, I found out that my aspect ratio settings got reverted back. So every single time I turn off my PS5 and get back on, I gotta manually change it. I know that Sony just re-released this game for a quick buck, but come on, they could have put on a bit more effort. Well, I collected enough precursor orbs to grab paracells from everyone in Sandover Village, including whatever this thing is. After that, I walk around the Rock Village and encounter, get ready for this, more people that are thirsty for those precursor orbs. I grab all the scout flies around here and wander into the Precursor Basin, an entire level where I'm on the motorbike thing. And yeah, this is where the vehicle started to lose me. Controlling this thing in an open area was frustrating, especially with all the frame rate drops. I lost my patience with that whole area and walked into another one, the Buggy Swamp. Here I get my hands on some yellow eco, which lets me shoot some fireballs. I encountered the Flood again, and this is a lot easier to control than the motorbike. There's also another mini game where I shoot rats. Damn, the aiming sucks ass. I can't even move vertically. This right here is another reason the game should have gotten a remake instead of The Last of Us. So I have one more paracel left in this area. I have to jump over to this one section where I'm ambushed by a horde of enemies and have to fight them off. After dying an inhumane amount of times, I had to give up and move on. My next stop is the Lost Precursor City. For some reason, it seemed overwhelming at first. Like, what the hell is that yellow thing? Though despite falling on my ass a ton of times, I found this area pretty straightforward and easy to navigate. Except for this one part where I briefly end up back at the Rock Village. But I head straight back in and easily take the rest of the paracells. So I have enough of them to head into the next hub world. But before I head there, I wanted to check out the Precursor Basin one more time. I managed to grab a few paracells from here, but once again, I had little patience for the frame rate, so I had to dip out. The next boss turned out to be pretty simple and formulaic once again. I dodged its attacks, I grabbed all the eco I could, and I raised hell. Pew, 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 pew. After riding the bike thing again, we reached the final hub area, the volcanic crater. There, Jack and Dexter meet Gull and Maya, the two creepy looking things from the beginning. Turns out Gull is the only person who can turn Dexter back, so he's basically So I take my sweet time making the rounds, grabbing all the scout flies, and giving all my eggs to these two guys.
That's it. You cleaned us out. No more power cell.
But after that, I spent a ton of time in the snowy mountain. Here's a montage of me dying. A lot. but at least I got to ride the flat flood again. Plus I grabbed enough power cells to get me to the end of the game. There was actually an entire area I was able to skip, and that's why I tried acting like a psychopathic completionist in the early parts of the game. After riding my bike around one more time, we reach Goal and Maya's citadel. The goal is to save all the sages, and that involves doing a crap ton of falling. These platforms. Anyone who's colorblind is basically screwed, I guess, but I eventually saved all the sages, and now it's time to face the final boss. And just like the other bosses, it's nothing revolutionary, but it's challenging enough. And plus I get to shoot more fireballs. Pew 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 pew. And that's what all the sages dropping light eco. Dexter could use it to turn back to normal, Jack uses the light eco to defeat Goal and Maya, and save the world. It seems like a noble sacrifice on paper for Dexter, but here's the thing. There are multiple white eco orbs scattered around. I only need one to blow up the giant robot. Dexter could just grab one of the other ones. Naughty Dog, explain this plot hole. Well, either way, Jack and Dexter are considered heroes. Jack gets cock-blocked, and we're told to gather the rest of the power cells to get the secret ending. But f that, we're not cavemen. We have technology. After searching the secret ending on YouTube, I can guarantee that the 100 power cell search is not worth it. Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy is a good, old-fashioned collectathon platformer that actually gets pretty challenging at times. The concepts are super simple, there's no complicated crafting, there's no live service element, though there are some aspects that make a remake warranted. This game really needs not just improved graphics, but updated controls, a consistent 60 frames per second, or even 120 frames. And looking back, especially compared to Naughty Dog's current games, the story of the first game was pretty okay. Like, there is a sense of world building in this first installment, but I never really found the characters and the lore all too compelling. Though the sequel does look like it introduces an expanded world, and a much more difficult experience. There is also a ton of